Oh, okay, that's alright then. That's okay. Alright, no worries. Alright, see ya.
Have you got a picture? Not coming through here yet. Okay. So who's coming up that knows all about it?
Milky, he'll be up in, what do you say, a couple minutes?
Oh yeah, he's just sitting down here.
Milky doesn't know anything about that.
If I try.
Hey, I was trying to get a picture through to the screen.
Yeah, right. It's all plugged in from the camera, is it?
Yeah, I didn't use this one.
You plug in your end of the hoops, you know?
Yeah.
With the connection, obviously, with the telescope.
Yeah. So has he got his camera turned on?
Welcome to the home of football. In our great city of Geelong,
I don't think so.
at Student Stadium, the best of luck to Cardinia and the Bellarine Football League in the third promoter and Victorian Countryside Championships in 2014 here today.
Football League and the Cardinia Football League. My name is Matt Gibbs and with me today is Josh. How are you, mate?
I'm going well, thanks, Matty.
Ball straight up in the centre. Going up for it was Gage from Drysdale for BFL. But Cardinia win it and take along the far wing. Looking to go inside 50th, fumble mark. And the ball at ground level now. Out in the long sleeves, the player there was Dylan Holland for Bellarine, a previous Bull Bennett winner. Goes along the line to a one-on-one contest. But Cardinia win out. They've got a man in board. It was a terrible kick. Hovey was lurking, went to ground level. And all stacks on deck. Umpires waiting and we'll ball it up. So the ball just inside Bellarine's forward 50 as they look to launch the first attack of the afternoon. Beautiful conditions down here at Simmons Stadium. Ball taken to ground level once more. Dragged down was Baden Dodd from the Ammos for Bellarine. A quick snap around the corner from Morefoot. He's been handy this year for Mottawarri, but that's not one of his best. Out in the full. And Casey Cardinia will reload through Ryan Morrison, one of 10 Narre players picked today. Morrison in the back pocket. Looks to go long and does so with a penetrating left foot kick all of 55 metres. Brought down to ground by Gage for the BFL. And then a couple of footsteps of Matthew Wade. Kicks it around the corner, cut off well by Benstead. Benstead goes inboard to Finch. Certainly the BFL's best player. He goes back to Lim, Queenscliff coach. Lim goes along the line. Dyson Bellarine loves to use his pace. Takes a couple of bounces. A third. He's got a paddock. Can go long. Decides to chip a short one to Finch, who stops and props. Looks up for Hovey. The kick wasn't the greatest. Hovey was pushed out of the contest. Quick hands from Fisher. Got it to his teammate. And then well cut off by the BFL player. Goes inboard, but only as far as Casey Cardinia in that back half. Their little chip to the near side. Casey Cardinia along the wing. A risky kick. Lim probably had the mark. It was spoiled by Andrews, but the mark is paid to Tom Lim, the Queenscliff coach. Lim sizes up his options and decides to go short, puts it up. A bit of a hospital kick, but in the end it was good enough for Kane Smith. The former GFL player who's joined the Ammos this year. He goes long to a 2-on-1. Hovey looked to get a shove, and he'll claim it. So Hovey from 52. He could probably make the distance here, but I don't think he's backing himself. Tossing the ball around. The eyes are moving. He's got a few options. Instead, he'll look to load up. Hovey from about 55.
Oh, good kick.
The curve was great. It was a very, very good kick from Daniel Hovey, and he's excited too. BFL first on the board. They are 1-0-6. Casey Cardinia yet to score. We've gone nearly 3 minutes, and a nice goal from Daniel Hovey there, Josh.
Yeah, certainly a great start for the Bellarine Football League. The game being played on their terms, their pressure has been first class.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the way they've started off. Definitely looking to get that run and carry going. It's not a tall side that the Bellarine are fielding. Hovey's probably one of their tallest, and while he's a big man, he's certainly not huge. Gage in the middle is obviously a bit of tall timber, but they've got the running style of Dyson Bellarine, Kane Smith, Josh Finch, these sort of guys. So it'll be interesting to see how Casey Cardinia can repel that. It was Jones who went up in the ruck for Casey. and the ball driven straight to ground once more. Beautiful conditions, as I mentioned earlier. It's perfect. I think a lot of players would relish the opportunity to play on an AFL venue. It was Jones again who tapped it down for Casey. And at ground level was Collins, certainly one of the league's best players for Casey Cardinia. A big up and under kick from Lehman. A sort of reverse spiral punt, hitting the pack hard, was the Casey Cardinia player. Ball fell to ground level. Cottrell, little bouncing ball. It's a one-on-one. It was O'Donoghue who was held for Bellarine and decided to keep going. Did well. Now the Bellarine Sharks have it on this near wing, but the kick was poor and cut off by Biscaya. Biscaya goes long to a one-on-one. Ben Stead's at the back. Might have used the hands. Play on called. Rag now tries to pick it up. Little hands out to Tonner. Was met immediately by the opponent, and Casey will be happy to see it over the boundary line for a throw-in. Bellarine 1 goal, Casey yet to score, but they've got a pretty good opportunity to do so now with the ball nestled inside their 450. Ball tossed back in, a nice tap on. Casey Cardinia now looking to... Oh, he got a very, very high tackle there. And that should be a free kick, and it will be. So Casey have their first shot of the game, and a little bit of liveliness from them, Josh.
Yeah, certainly. Just a bit silly there from Gage, just overcommitted too much. Big man he is, and just trying to tackle the smaller man. Andrews taking the kick. Just a bit rash from Big Gage.
It was. I can tell you though, it's hard as a tall man to tackle a small man. It's Andrews who lines up. The kick was very nice off the boot. He likes it, and so do we. It's 1 goal apiece at Simmons Stadium. 5.5 minutes gone, first term, and both teams on even terms right now. There was a nice forward entry by Casey. I mean, they looked to go long, and then as the ball went outside, obviously for a boundary throw-in, they did well and ended up drawing the free kick, and I thought it was well played by the young Andrews. Only 21 years old too, Jordan Andrews from Berwick. Ball back in the centre. Kim Jones goes up. Gage went up too. Didn't win the tap, but the ball came down to Lavaz, who went along the line. The kick towards the boundary line was okay. Handballed in from Isaac Baker, the Torquay man. Decided to go with a little chip kick, and it was clever. And found Brad King.
Good play from Isaac Baker there, the former South Barwon man. Certainly full of class. And only a young man. He's been around for a while, only 23 years of age, but certainly shows some poise and class there. A little kicking board, and King will have a shot on goal now. He
will. A slight angle, about a 45-degree angle. Should be okay for the right footer. And he does so with aplomb. Bellarine's second goal coming off the boot of Brad King. Yet another one of Geelong Amateurs star players they've recruited for the 2014 season. So it's the Sharks that lead 2-0-12 to Casey 1-0-6. Nearly 7 minutes gone first term. It's a bit of a goal fest so far. 3 goals in 7 minutes is what we like to see. And accurate kicking also. So both teams putting on a show for the crowd, which is just starting to build. We're filling out that red cheeky stand on the lower level. And there's certainly a few faces around catching this game before the GFL starts at 2 p.m. Ball back on the centre. Gage got up very high and got the early lift, but to no avail. Hands at the back now. It was good to Lavaz. Takes his time, gets the kick away, but it was affected by the tackle and well cut off by Scanlon. Scanlon looks to go inboard, has a bit of a dash and then kicks towards his teammate in Fisher. Fisher gets quick hands to Morrison along the line, put it over the head of his teammate in O'Brien, who was immediately met by Benstead. And now Carmichael around the corner. An elder statesman for Drysdale. It was a good kick, weighted perfectly to Daniel Hovey, who's pushed right up the ground to the wing position. He had Bell Warren with the hands. He also could have gone back to Carmichael. Instead decided to give a real hospital hand pass to Lavaz, who made it look good. That's how good of a player he is. He dishes the hands off to Baker, it might be, who kicks around the... King, in fact, who kicked around the corner. It was smothered immediately. Tonner now for Casey Cardinia at ground level. Overruns it. The umpire is hovering, but decides to ball it up. Now, the umpire looks a lot like a Casey Cardinia player today. I think that's probably a bit of an oversight on the league's behalf, wearing the white top, navy shorts and navy socks. The ball tossed up once more. The tap was won down by Casey Cardinia, but it was Carmichael who kicked it straight inside Bellarine's 50. The oval ball just working its way at right angles towards that boundary line near the ISC advertising hoardings. And we'll have a ball in. 8.5 minutes gone. Hovey lurking there in that goal square. It'll be a nice duel between him and Ryan Morrison, the Narry Warren man, only 20 years old. Ball tossed back in. Baden Dodd was lurking there in the ruck. He nearly won his own footy. Late an immediate tackle. Ball still scragging around at ground level. And the umpire will look to bounce once more. He's hovering. He's certainly taking his time. These umpires like to be a little bit dramatic in whether they give out a free kick or not.
Certainly gives you the... Sorry, mate. The pressure from both sides has been excellent today. Definitely. Tackling has been really on from both sides.
It'll be interesting to see how long they can sustain that. A nice handball out the side to Balding, who went around the corner and in fact missed everything. Not a bad result for Bellarine as the ball bounces out for a throw-in. Tom Balding, a great player at Geelong Amateur. He's a goal kicker and he's also a ball winner, so he's done very well the last few years at Queen's Park, the 26-year-old. Ball tossed back in. Baden Dodd went the third man up and flew. The kick was quickly smothered, and Cardinia laying some good pressure in that defensive 50. With the goals in sight, a couple of handballs thrown out once more. Wrapped up was Smith for Bellarine, and we'll have yet another bounce, or a ball up I should say. About 15 metres out from the Bellarine goal. Ball tossed up. The punch was okay from Kim Jones for Cardinia. Quick hands from Fisher. Went out to the near side, but Benstead chopped it off for Bellarine. Did well. About 65 from home. Benstead, a little chip kick. It was clever. It's Smith with the footy. Looked to go for the hands. Instead decides to put it out into that hot spot. About 40 from goal. Baden Dodd has it at 55 out. Can go long. Loads up. Looking for Carmichael. Kick. A beautifully weighted kick. A very good decision maker is Baden Dodd. And it'll be Benny Carmichael, the Drysdale veteran, who will line up, a two-time premiership player for the Hawks back in 2009-10. Baden Dodd from 60 out had the time to make the decision, but made it look so easy, didn't he, Josh?
Tremendous vision from Dodd. Just magnificent to be able to see him.
Carmichael loads things up and just sneaks it through for a goal. Bellarine get their third of the afternoon.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello, Milky Marnie.
Stop puffing, boys. I've stopped puffing. It's taken me a while. Where's the clock? 11 minutes has taken me to settle down.
All those flights of stairs, mate, must have...
I went from St Mary's the long way around and then went the wrong way in the gate and had to climb a fence. At my age, just not good enough. Just interesting one about Balding.
Yes.
He's actually a Sydney boy, played rugby, came down to St Joseph's. I personally recruited him, to be honest.
Really?
So he's a gun.
Yeah, interesting to see how you can adapt from a different code. I mean, we've seen it happen in the AFL as well with players like Carmichael Hunt as the ball is tossed.
Used to call the umpire Sir.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
Respectful of his elders there.
Yeah.
The kick from Smith was good. And found a teammate in Isaac Baker. His little chip kick in ball to Carmichael, who's won a fair bit of the footy early. Goes long with a nice left foot kick. Was out the front of King, who was tackled as he went for the goal and ended up falling over his own feet. And Brad King can only watch in despair as the ball trickles over the
Bradley
the
King won't hear much about that, will he?
I'm sure he'll be getting a ribbing from his teammates in the days to come. Cardinia work it out through Rag. A little chip over the top to Wade, who is met immediately. Hovey intercepts. Goes with a sort of 20-metre punt to a 2-on-2 contest. Oh, met heavily. The Bellarine player was taken to ground. The umpire has paid a free kick for holding the ball. Now that's interesting.
High fender, I think.
A high fender for Balding. Had to give the ball away, and now Cardinia can work it out of their defensive 50.
Certainly, Cardinia are just falling, trying to get this third kick from about centre wing. They've fallen down whenever they've got the ball to this part of the ground. It'll be interesting to see if they can hit up a target as they go forward.
And they do so through Morrison, along that far side wing, to a 2-on-2 contest, and the ball went out all right. A little handball over the top. The umpires decided to call a boundary throw-in. 13 minutes gone.
This is a major oversight.
The umpires.
Boundaries and the centrals. Exactly the same uniform.
It's ludicrous. And you'd have to agree too with the change in GFL and BFL umpire colours this year. That's also caused problems with the change from orange to yellow.
Yep.
No one else in the league wears orange, so it's really quite an odd choice to be wearing the white today, like the old school, as they did back in the 70s, 80s and before. Ball to be tossed up, it looks like, hovering around that Casey Cardinia 50-metre line. How have you seen it so far, Milky? Who do you think's got the upper advantage?
I think better leg speed in the Bellarine side, to be honest.
Yeah.
I thought it might have been... all my mail from Casey was that they're a very quick side, very strong side.
Bit of bus lag, perhaps.
Yeah.
It was King who overran the footy there.
Interleague bus trips, they are the greatest.
Kane Biscaya,
Ooh.
the brother of one, gets it off to his teammate, and there was a nice kick inside 450 to O'Brien, who will like to back himself here from about 40 metres out. Benstead takes the mark, but Steve O'Brien has little of an angle to speak of, the Pakenham man. At 26 years of age, he's done well for Pakenham over the last couple of years, and will line things up from about 40 metres to bring Casey within a goal once more. He left the boot really well, and the umpire did not have to move. A goal to Steve O'Brien, and Casey moved to 2-0-12, Bellarine 3-0-18.
Narry Warren win their game footy next week, boys. There'll be 42 wins in a row.
You can understand why they've got 10 players.
That's exactly right.
Comparable to any sort of side in this league? Are they Geelong Amateurs level of good, or even better?
I think they've raised a new standard down there. Got a massive area to pick from, Narry Warren.
Hopefully not to the detriment of the league. I mean, yeah, you know when there are powerhouse teams, and there are powerhouse teams. The handball out from Finch was good. Always a major ball winner. Dalhouse there at ground level, the Anglesea man, done well to represent his side. A quick kick from Holwell. Hovey moved through the air and took a great mark.
He's nearly best on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in the BFL he has his good days and he has his off days as well. And when he's on, he is very on. And then when he's off, he's sort of the Trav Cloak style of enigmatic forward. Where
Hey. Let's not get into Collingwood already. Jeepers.
Hovey from 40 metres. It's bending at the last minute, but he snuck it through. And I won't make any more Collingwood references for the rest of the afternoon.
Mate, he's had more kicks today than Travis Cloak's had for the year. Give me a spell. Jeepers.
Certainly the focal point for Bellarine, though, Hovey. He's the man they look to, the man to crush packs and to present. He's certainly the main man up forward, and he's already kicked 2. And he's on fire early.
But he's got the footy up here, up around centre wing and in the centre of the ground, which is fantastic for a big man. Good to see.
Maybe pushing up like a Nick Riewoldt style. Can I draw any more AFL analogies?
Keep going. Yeah.
Just to make it easy for our viewers at home who may not have seen the Bellarine in action too much this year. Kick around the corner from Lehman was good. Went up in the air, tried to make it state a task for his teammate Andrews. Running it down was Tom Lim, the Queenscliff coach for Bellarine, and happy to see it over the line was Carricker, who gets his first touch of the footy, the Torquay veteran at 31.
Oldest bloke out there, isn't he? For Bellarine, I'm sorry.
Gage at 34 is
Really?
the wily ruckman who's come back to the Hawks this year after a few years.
And he's got the rat on top of his head.
He does. He doesn't look 34, actually. Not with that hairstyle, anyway.
No.
Ball taken at ground level. And again, the umpire just weaves in, camouflaging himself as a Casey Cardinia player. Gage has been pretty handy in the ruck so far. Ball tossed up once more. He's definitely got that height advantage. Went to ground level. Casey moving inside their forward 50. Over the top, it's Biscaya.
Oh, good
It was
mark.
a brilliant mark
O'Donoghue.
taken by Mark O'Donoghue, the Ammo's captain, who goes across goal, which is always a risky measure. And it paid off for Cardinia with Mark Holt taking the mark and an intercept. And I know the golden rule of footy, Milky, is to never kick across goal.
No, well, this guy wasn't named in the side. You're aware of that, aren't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
thankfully, for not being on our team sheet, which is...
Kicked 100. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was interesting in your paper where they didn't name the two guys that had kicked 100.
Yeah. Biscaya was the other one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mark Holt lines things up, and again it looks great off the boot. I mean, we've had a
Fantastic.
treat of accurate goal kicking today. Casey had their third with Bellarine on 4, so we've had 7 goals straight so far for the match in just under 18 minutes of footy. We're being treated to a great game, boys.
Certainly a big barrel of a man, Holton. That kick, that went post high the whole way for about 45. Certainly a very strong kick.
Yeah, I might have to look at that matchup, I think.
His awareness was very good there too. I mean, a lot you do see a lot more now often with teams switching to play going across goal, but it was about a 2-on-2 and he just drifted in and took the mark really well.
He's obviously very strong in the upper body.
Gage flew, but it was Casey who won the tap. Matthew Wade gets the hands out for Casey Cardinia to his teammate and Ben King. King goes across the ground to Gaines. The Berwick man, at just 18 years of age, would have to be the youngest player out there on the ground today. Casey moved inside their forward 50. There's that man again, Holt. Was pushed underneath it, nearly took a miraculous mark with one hand. Gage, the old ruckman, with a bit of a pirouette, did well. But the handball wasn't too great, and the Bellarine man was wrapped up straight away. It might even be Tom Lim.
Yeah, I think it is.
Who was wrapped up.
The coin tosser, the captain, who's
And the
pinned
umpire
him.
has decided to
Get out of it. Bad enough you're wearing their colours.
Tom Lim must be in disarray. He's usually a very polite man, but I'm sure even he would be a little bit flabbergasted at the decision the umpires has paid there to give Max Gearin from Cranbourne a shot at goal. He was almost wrapped up immediately.
Oh, jeez. Pinged his arm, pinned the ball to him. Good tackle, but
great tackle. But you
don't know
don't-
that was needed to be rewarded
I
for
don't
that.
know if you reward those. Anyway, it's Gearin who will come in, and that one's drifted to the far side. For the first time today, we've got it behind. So Gearin puts Casey Cardinia within a goal to 3-1-19, Bellarine 4-0-24. So Bellarine worked out their defensive 50. The ball went over the top of the Casey player. And now along the line with a inventive punt was Lavaz. Ball went to ground level. Quick hands from King was smothered by the Casey man, which was Brandon Osborne. Then hands out to Scanlon. A quick kick around the corner, a high up and under one. Sets a task for Smith, who backed himself in and was met immediately by Rag in that contest. Happy to see it over the line be Reece Holwell, the Drysdale skipper. We've certainly seen some courage so far too today, and that was a tough contest for Smith to get
First time I
underneath.
saw Reece Holwell, he had long hair.
He's
Now he's missing hair.
has he chopped it off, or has it just sort of fallen
I think
away?
it's fallen out, mate.
Receding.
He certainly had a long and storied career too. He's been on the end of a few losing ground finals, certainly unfortunate for Reece Holwell. Ball at ground level now. Handballed out to Gearin, who's had a bit of it lately for Casey. Still no one can get a clean possession. Trying to scrag his way in there was James Dark for Torquay, the young man at 19, who won BFL Rookie of the Year last year. The Tigers on baller.
I've just been watching Kane Smith. He does not give up a contest.
Certainly not. He's been a pleasure to watch in the BFL this year too, as the Amos have certainly shown their wares. An undefeated record so far this year. Smith, there he is, the man you just spoke of, Milky. Got the hands out, but it wasn't too effective. Wrapped up immediately. There's Gear on again. To his teammate who was pushed off the footy. And up and under kick taken by Jason Fisher from Pakenham. Fisher 55 from goal. Little chip kick. Wasn't the greatest of ideas. Spoiled straight away by Kerr. But now Casey Cardinia have it again. A little inboard kick from Tonner. And now Cottrell across the ground. Casey Cardinia looked to reload. Scanlon from 65. Oh, could have been a free kick there, paid to
Absolutely.
Holt. Instead, the umpire called play on. A few interesting calls so far. Handball out from Balding, now to that far wing. And Bellarine moved along the line. Might have even been King. No, it wasn't King. Who was spoiled there? It might have been Dalhouse for Bellarine. And we'll get a toss in Red Sheehy's side of the ground, where the crowd is situated so far.
Just one thing I'm noticing, Gibbsy, the Bellarine boys are certainly backing their inside players to win the ball, and that they just wait on the outside. And sometimes in the last couple of entries for Cardinia, they've just been caught out with a couple of loose men in their forward line.
Good observation there, Josh. The ball heads towards the Bellarine 50, about 60 out now. Lurking was Dale Kerr for Bellarine. A nice kick.
Yeah, good kick.
I tell you, I haven't seen too much of Dale Kerr this year. I mean, he's been an Anglesey sort of stalwart for the last couple of years. But I think when you're playing with good people, you seem to be better yourself. I think he'll relish... He's only 19 years old, in fact, so he's only just come out of the Colts in the last 2 years or so. But I think when you're playing with these great players, you relish the opportunity and you become better yourself.
Talented sportsman too. Dale Kerr is a gun cricketer, plays for Geelong as well.
So an all-round great player. The kick was long and taking a mark on the line. That might be Carmichael for Bellarine. His little chip kick was
What on
almost
earth was he
stupid.
doing?
Tried to look for Kane Smith, who raises the arm as if to say, why'd you do that? Could have gone for the banana kick. No one would have begrudged, in fact, Daniel Hovey.
I would have expected he would have smashed
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Not usually one to pass the footy off. Nonetheless, it'll be a throw-in. Near the Belmont Timber sign, forward pocket Bellarine. Ball whacked over the back, but it was nice hands, and Cardinia can clear through Morrison. The long kick went to no one in particular. Gage juggled the ball and probably went the boundary line and gets it. And we must be pretty close to the end of the term. 23.5 minutes gone, first quarter. As I repeat, Bellarine 4-0-24, Casey 3-1-19.
Quick goal here would be handy for Bellarine.
It would, especially since they've been so accurate so far. But that last 5 minutes haven't been able to penetrate the scoreboard. Ball went to ground level again once more. Casey probably just got the upper hand over the last 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, you're right.
Quick handball at the back from Carmichael was good. And
Got
there's
him.
Hovey crashing the
dropped it.
pack. In fact, dropped a chest mark, really. At ground level, hovering around the footy was Balding, looking to receive the handball. Instead, it'll be more foot
He's a lefty.
from 50. Kick was affected by the smother, and Casey bring it out towards Tonner. Going to try and track this one down in a one-on-one. The tackle was
Did well.
okay from Dale Kerr. Put the pressure on at least. Not enough to hold him up, though. Kick along the line now. Trying to take this one down was O'Donoghue. Did well to handball
good
onside
work.
to Benstead. Lim was there. Benstead ignored him and went along the line to Kerr, who's had a little bit of it lately. Could just slow things up if he wants to, and he does. Kerr has some options, including Benstead back in board. Decides to go down the line. It was probably a low percentage kick, a 2-on-1. Ball spoiled out, and we'll have a throw in.
Certainly Cardinia's last 5 minutes, as you mentioned, Gibbsy, have been excellent. Their intensity around the footy has lifted, their pressure has lifted, and it's shown on the scoreboard.
We're probably seeing, what we thought of them pre-match as to how good they can be. Michael Collins immediately wrapped up, and Bellarine win the ball out of there. Inside the 450, Hovey might have been held. Play on call. Quick snap around the corner from Morefoot.
Oh, roll.
It could bounce for Hovey.
Look at Balding.
Who went to
Balding.
Balding. That'll make up for his earlier misdemeanour. Balding with the goal. Socket that one off the ground.
Could see that unfolding. Tommy sniffs a goal. Don't worry about that.
And Daniel Hovey laid the shepherd / illegal off the ball sort of tackle style thing he had going on there. Balding snuck in for a soccer style goal, and there's that handy one you were talking
That's
about,
the
Milk.
one, mate. They just needed that just before because actually, I think you said it, 5 minutes. Casey Cardinia owned that 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and it was Bellarine just snuck back in with
And-
good pressure, moving the ball forward.
And probably failed to put it on the scoreboard too, Casey Cardinia, for all their dominance in that last 5-6 minutes or so. Ball tossed back up. Actually, we can hear the old school timer from here, so we'll be able to know when the siren goes. Ball kicked in, and there was a free man in Jack Morefoot for Mottawari. Decides to play on. Probably could have had a set shot. The bounce is going to be very close to the line, and Casey will rush it through, courtesy of Dominic Painter. Probably got his first touch of the afternoon. Certainly an inventive decision by Morefoot to decide to play on rather than back himself in a set shot. Ball dribbles towards Wade, who goes for a little bit of a dash along that far wing, and the kick was good to find Biscaya, who wheels around, takes no time. His kick off a
Good
step
mark.
was not great. Gage had the height advantage there over Ben Ragg. Gage with a quick one to Finch. And now to Bell Warren, who goes a little bit of a run. They're linking
Good
up
hands.
well, Bellarine. Finch out to the left to Carmichael. Turns and moves into his left foot. Goes long towards
He
Balding,
loved
who
this.
really worked
He
his
loved
man under
this.
the
This is
footy.
his stuff.
Balding from 45.
Bread and butter.
Kicks
Bread and butter.
a goal. Gee, he's good. That's 2 in 2 minutes from Tommy Balding.
He is one of the most dangerous blokes you'll get in space. Do you see how he led his opponent under the footy,
You could just tell.
into the space, and away he went?
Because he had no one ahead of him too,
Yep.
all he needed to do was work his man under the footy ever so slightly without obviously impeding, and did so to aplomb.
That hurts Cardinia. 2 quick goals inside 2 minutes when they probably broke even in that. Before those 2 goals, that really just puts a damper on their first quarter after, as Gibbsy keep harping on it, but it was a good 5 minutes for them. They've just eased off and the next 5 minutes at the end of the quarter.
It was, and probably a fair indication of how the game's travelled so far with Bellarine by a couple of goals. In fact, 3 goals now, 6-1, 37 to 3-1, 19.
Not over yet.
Ball still hovering in that Bellarine 450. Quick hands out from Carmichael. There's a couple of Red Sharks players looming at the back of the pack. And bustling his way through was dark for Bellarine. The kick, handball from Lavaz rather was smothered. To Carmichael on the left boot. Went towards the goal square looking for that. The ball curved back in at right angles. That's what an AFL footy can do. Can just bounce back at ludicrous angles. We almost thought that was going to be a miraculous goal from Ben Carmichael. In fact, just a minor score, which takes Bellarine to 6-2-38. Casey 3-1-19. And they now work it out through their defensive 50, but the kick on the far wing wasn't great. Bellarine can mop up inside. Baden Dodd.
Doesn't he love it, Bell Warren?
He does. He loves to take a dash too. Really
he's got one.
backs
He's got
himself.
one wide. What are we doing, Benny?
Lavas. The quick hands to Dalhouse and back into Bell Warren. The two
He's
Anglesey
still there.
players combining and finds Cormac Cashin, who's just lurked into the 450. Usually defender in his Queenscliff days. But he
Still
might like
manages
a
to
shot
kick,
at goal.
snag a goal or two, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Former St Mary's boy.
You saw a bit of him in
Yeah,
your time?
yeah. It's former St Mary's boy. Good player at St Mary's level.
Certainly strong overhead as well. Cashin on a pretty tough angle actually, about a 45-50 degree angle. This near side, we'll have to work it. Starts it out right, curves it back. He might not even have the distance, which is interesting to say from about a 40 metre kick. Just touched through for a minor score. Bellarine increased their lead ever so slightly, 6-3-39 to Casey 3-1-19. And there is a siren for quarter time of the first quarter between Bellarine Football League and the Casey Cardinia Football League. It's the Sharks 6-3-39 to Casey 3-1-19. How do we see that first quarter, boys?
To use him when he's on the lead.
Does he like Hovey leading up the ground?
Yeah, he does. That's why he's finished up in the centre of the ground, because they haven't given it to him, so he just kept running.
Yeah, so we've got a change in the ruck for Casey Cardinia as the big gangly Jake Gaines, the 18-year-old, going up for them. And ball to no avail really is it'll be thrown up once more, a secondary throw just near the centre circle. Ball tossed up again, and one down by Bellarine, a quick kick around the corner. And trying to track it down there was Dark for Bellarine. Went to ground level, shouldn't do that and lose your feet. Scanlon, his kick at all 50 metres was spoiled. And the ball fell at the back now. Benstead laying the tackle. Finch might have caught one high, play on call. Bell Warren tried to get the hands out to Dark, who wrapped up the tackle.
That's
He's a
the
very
same
good
as the
tackler,
last one,
James
umpire.
Dark.
Where are you?
Pinned one arm and the umpire will call a ball up. To be fair, he was tackled immediately as he grabbed the footy, but we have seen decisions like that paid earlier in the game today so far. Gaines went up again. Gaines went up again for Casey Cardinia.
Yeah, good work.
And it might be Smith there driven into the ground.
Whose decision is it for what the umpires wear?
I would say it's a VCFL wide
That's
decision.
surely they look at the colours and just go, no, we can't have them in the same as those.
Yeah, we'll have to wonder. We'll have to sort of notice and see if any of the Casey players kick towards the umpires throughout the rest of the match. It'll be quite interesting, and it'll also be a bit of a farce as well.
Be even more interesting if one of the Bellarine boys tackle them.
Or if one of the umpires kicks a goal. Finch now handballs it out towards Lavaz. His kick goes long inside 450. Oh! Hovey probably gave away a free kick, really. Had a couple of hands in the back. Balding now. His little handball out to Baden Dodd. The Amos players linking up. Dodd's kick was smothered. Balding still lurking. Pirouettes into a tackle. And
Umpire's gonna
the
ping him.
umpire
I thought
should
he
blow
was.
it up. Yeah, he was hovering.
I said to Baldo at quarter time, I said, mate, the hands, they're for handballing. said he handballs less than Kevin Bartlett.
Baden Dodd flies up for the ruck, and it ball just gets squeezed out to Finch, 60 metres from home.
Oh,
Puts it out in front of Hovey. Well, he tried to anyway. The kick wasn't up to Josh Finch's usual standard. Hovey couldn't lay the tackle and then grabbed his arm straight after it. The quick hands out, and now Casey Cardinia can move. Benstead nearly tried to chop it off, committed himself too much to the contest, and it was Collins who went along the line. One of Casey Cardinia's better players in the league so far this season. Ball went over the head of Holt. Now Lim gets the quick hands to Dale Kerr, who went inboard to Smith. A couple of chip kicks now for Bellarine. He goes out far to the big gangly Ash Caldwell, the young Anglesey ruckman.
big gangly. You mates of his?
No, I'm not, but I can tell. I'll tell him that. It goes out to James Dark, whose little kick to Hovey wasn't too effective. Umpire calls play on. Selling a little bit of candy to no one was Russell Lehman for Casey Cardinia. His little chip kick was okay. And Casey can move. It might have been Fisher who got it over there on the far side. The ball went in a 3-on-1. The ball came out to the one from Casey. Leading out front of his man was O'Donoghue. Did well. Kept front position and got the hands out to Benstead, whose chip kick went over the top. And finds that might be Kane Smith out there. At the far side it was. But his kick was cut off. Not too effective. Picking up the high ball was Wade. May have caught one high. Play on call. A snap around the corner. To no one in particular. Ball went straight over the head of Dyson Bell Warren, who tried to attack the footy again. Comes out to Holt, who lines things up with interesting kicking style from 40 metres and puts it through the middle. for a Casey goal. So they go to 4-1-25, Bellarine 6-3-39. I like how he sort of like guides it down and laid it off on a bit of an angle. Obviously works for him if he's kicking bags of goals, Milky.
Absolutely, mate. I just, again, that match-up. He's just too strong. He's strong in the hips. He's strong in the upper body. Interestingly, he raised the elbow when he went past the captain of the Bellarine and had it connected. I'd be interested to see where the boys had all come in.
Yes.
Because I certainly would have been on.
And the fact that we have it on video as well. Now they're using the video these days in the tribunal makes it... You can't escape with too much these days in the local leagues is what I'm trying to say. Ball goes to ground level once more. It's Smith underneath the bottom of that pack. And the umpire would be a brave man to call a free kick out of that.
Wouldn't put it past him.
We'll have another toss-up. Nearly 5 minutes gone, second term. Ball up high in the air, Caldwell did okay. Ball comes out the back now. Quick hands from Holwell, copped a quick one over the top of the head. Inventive little tap from Carricker went to Smith, who was wrapped up. Umpire may ping him here, and he will do so.
I couldn't find the umpire. I was looking to see where he was.
Yeah,
I couldn't
so
find him.
I was honestly doing the same. He plays with his socks up, though. So unlike most players these days, the umpire does have his socks up. Casey getting to move it inside the 50 through Matthew Way with a long booming punt. Holt overhead. Took a really strong mark out in front of his opponent, Dylan Holland. And you have to wonder when Diz Holland is going to get moved off.
This it's been all Casey in this first 5 minutes again. They've made use of one. I'm tipping this bloke to kick another one. He's kicked 3 of their 4. It'll be 4 of their 5, I reckon.
They're probably putting faith in Dylan Holland. And I don't mind that, but if it continues on, then we might see a change. Holt loads up. It looks very, very good. And there's another one for Casey. They've got the first 2 goals of the quarter, and they move to within 8 points of Bellarine. 5-1-31, Bellarine 6-3-39. Mark Holt is on a roll.
It was a superb mark. I think we're undervaluing how good that mark really was.
Yeah,
It wasn't an easy take. There was quite a few players around him, and it was a wonderful run and jump and superb kick right through the footy and 3-quarter post high as well as he dobbed it. So wonderful start for Holt.
And kicking from 55 metres out as well. No mean feat at all.
Oh, he's hurt himself. Your gangly mate.
Yeah,
Oh, he's gone down. That's no good if Bellarine are one down
got one in the guts
after only 5 minutes in the second quarter. He maybe just winded. Holt's lurking around there at ground level. Kick around the corner from Painter. Hasn't seen too much of it so far. O'Donoghue wants to track this one over the boundary line, and we'll see it do so. Following Tonner there over the far side for Casey Cardinia. It's in there 450 once more. We haven't seen too much of it up Bellarine's end so far this quarter. Casey, you've obviously got a little bit of a G-up at quarter time, and they're running like a well-oiled machine. Ball at the back. Immediately met was Bell Warren. Quick tap out, and he got it again. Dyson Bell Warren did quite well. Couldn't go for a run. Instead, get the hands. Boarding in a one-on-one contest. The ball just knocked out the back, and sweeping handball from Painter. Casey Cardinia can move now through Nick Scanlon. His little kick. Tried to set up for Holt. He's the man of the moment right now, and as long as he's taking marks, they're going to keep kicking it to him.
Gage was in the right spot then. He was smart. He was standing where a ruckman should be standing in the hole, but he just couldn't, just misread the flight of the ball almost. He was in the hole in front of Holt, but just couldn't lay a hand or a fist on the ball, and he's lining up for number 5, is he?
Well, look out. He's hurt himself, the boy. Dylan Holland limping off.
That might not be such a bad thing if we can get a switch up for Bellarine.
Oh, that's his 5th.
There's Holt kicking another one. We do feel for Diz Holland, who's come off a little bit worse for wear in the long sleeves there. He should be back on hopefully before too long. Mark Holt adds yet another one to his growing tally of goals. And Casey suddenly are within 2 points of Bellarine.
Well, that will force a reshuffle at the back now for Bellarine. I'm just trying to pick up who.
Cash and Cormac's gone back there by the looks.
Yeah.
So, as you say, Gibbs, it might be a blessing in disguise. Certainly, Holt had the better of the contest. So, we'll see how that matchup goes.
Holt's agility in the air is very, very good for a big man. Big, tall, and big solid as well. So, he's done very well so far to add those 4 or 5 goals so far. Ball at ground level. Overrunning it was Dale Kerr for Bellarine. Comes out the back now. A quick high up and under kick for Casey. Sets a task for his team. He did really well. The mark taken, it might be by, in fact, it's Matt Lee, who gets his first touch of the afternoon.
It's going to go through.
Put it over the top. The ball might bounce towards goals. It's Benstead out the back, who goes with a little chip kick. It was a bit of a dangerous one, but it worked out all right. Bellarine go down the line, but there really is no numbers for them. I mean, it's falling over the back, and they just can't seem to find clean possession like they did in that first quarter. The run and the spark that we saw seem to just disappear.
They're just looking for that option, and they're breaking the lines, but they just seem to... they're playing one-on-one footy, Casey. Massive turnaround.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing, and they're probably loving this momentum right now. Some quick feet there from Gearin. Lavaz uses his hands really well, in fact. Tapped it along with the left and picked up with the right. Through to Finch and then through to Carmichael, whose kick actually found Hovey quite well. And he dropped what should have been a simple mark. Maybe the confidence is disappearing somewhat for Daniel Hovey. He goes to ground level and then tries to take his opponent down with him. Casey Cardinia doing really well there to clear it out through Josh Tonner. And his little chip kick to Michael Collins. Can slow it down. In fact, it was smothered by Gage. Did really well. Used his height advantage to cut off Collins' kick. And Gage will be more than happy to see it ball up right now.
They need a spark, Bellarine.
Instead of it flies out the back. Carmichael's quick kick. Boarding was the shorter of the two men in the contest against Brandon Osborne and had to concede the spoil as the ball travels out of bounds about 55 metres out from goal.
Well, I can tell you now they're doing the wrong thing kicking it to a marking contest for Tommy Balding. Kick it over his head and he'll cut him to ribbons.
Well, it's a pretty open forward line right now for Bellarine. They've only got one man down at that full forward position. It might even be Kane Smith. So now it's King who gets the hands out.
He's got him.
And it's a really nice kick that spots up James Dark, who goes to the hot spot. Really set a task for Finch.
Telegraphed it, Gibbsy, that kick. He's just too obvious, and it was a great mark in the end.
It was too obvious, yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. I mean, you could tell that was probably the only option you could go to. That's where he went anyway. Really well done by Dalhouse. I believe he is a relation to Luke Dalhouse of the Bulldogs fame. I'm not too sure there's many other Dalhouses.
He's a Leopold boy, Dalhouse. Yes, they...
Been a handy acquisition for Anglesey this year too. Certainly been one of their best players for the season and rewarded with Interleague selection.
Definitely related.
Yeah.
Not sure that they're the same family.
Dalhouse doesn't really have the same ring to it as Smith or Jones, so there's not too many of them around. That was an errant kick from Casey Cardinia. The ball went out of bounds in the full, and by a fair margin too.
Strong throw there from the boundary.
Looks like it's going to be Daniel Gage to take the kick in. Instead of going long, he decides to go backwards, and his little chip kick was okay. Up the line, Hovey crashes the pack and takes out Bellarine in the process, seeing the ball over the line.
Well, it's just obvious to see here, Gibbsy, that link-up play that Bellarine had going for them in that first half is completely gone. Casey are just controlling this contest right about now. We played best part of 12 minutes and it's been all Casey.
A nice spoil there from Dale Kerr, who's had a fair bit of it so far. Probably in Bellarine's best players. Bell Warren, his hands out were good. Carmichael, ball magnet. Gage has a little bit of room to move. He had a couple of men inside, just decided to slow things down a bit.
Gagey.
Carmichael goes high, but a nice drifting mark taken by the Casey Cardinia man. Looks to be Morrison directing traffic. Goes long and through the middle and finds Collins, who's had a fair bit of it for Casey. Out to Andrews, but the handball was cut off. Smith, he dishes out the back to Tom Lim, the captain of the Sharks. His kick was very, very nice to Hovey. Just snuck that one in there. Daniel Hovey goes long inside 450. Made it tough for his teammate who tried to take the mark on his chest. Lurking was boarding, nearly tackled his opponent. Sure, you loved his work there, Milky.
Yeah.
But Casey did well to get it out there.
They had an extra man there, Bellarine.
Nathan Brown, not the former AFL Nathan Brown, goes to his teammate, and now outside to this far side, Ben Ragg was up against Gage, was up against another BFL opponent in Carmichael, turns into a 2-on-2, his teammate in gear and got back to help out and did well. It's the advantage of Casey, who can now move along this near wing. Kick over the top from Andrews, 2-on-2 contest, put it outside in front of Holt, who almost looked to turn around his man and go for a run there. Instead, will decide to load up. He's got a good kick on him, Holt, but certainly not that far. The contest at the top of the square was an interesting one. And we will have a ball up about 20 metres out from the Casey goal. They trail 6-1-37 to Bellarine 6-3-39. But we haven't seen anything from Bellarine this quarter that leads us to believe they'll be extending their margin anytime soon. A quick kick out. Well, want to be rushed by there by Dale Kerr, and he does manage to belt that one through the behind line just to get a little bit of restoration back to this Bellarine side, and they can slow things down and work it out from defensive 50. The chip kick to Baden Dodd in that back pocket. Always a ball magnet for the Ammos. He gets to his teammate Nod Donahue. They work up. Hovey pushing right up to the wing, as you mentioned earlier, Milky. He's done well to get up that far, and that's what the Bellarine coaches are liking. The quick hands over the top.
Good
Holwell
shepherd from King.
did well, just threw the footy on the boot.
Good play.
Balding was very inventive, using one mitt to try and get it down to ground level, and then pushing his man around was Baker.
Keep it in,
Ball went to
son.
ground level. An effort from Carricker went across the face of goal and in fact hit the behind post for a throw in. He hasn't seen too much of it today, Josh Carricker, but at 31 years of age he's played a lot of footy at Torquay and certainly enjoyed his time there. Ball to be tossed in. Just 1 point the difference now. How things changed. In that first quarter we thought Bellarine with a 3-goal advantage were doing quite well, and now Casey have pegged it back once more.
Haven't scored yet, Bellarine.
Not in this term, no. And Casey's defensive pressure has been absolutely superb.
Oof.
He had a man in his
step.
hammer there. He probably drilled him into the ground. May have been a downfield free kick if not for the decision of the umpire. Gage is pretty agile at ground level, really, for a big man. Got the hands out to Kerr. Almost fell into Smith's arms. Got the little hands out. But just happy to see it over the line was Carricker. What do you made of Kane Smith's game so far?
Yeah, I thought he started off very well. He seems to have run out of legs, but he'll get going again. One thing about that, he just does not give up.
Just looking down below us too, Gibbsy, Holland's still off the ground getting work done. Can't quite see what the issue is. Might be an ankle.
Yeah, it looks
I thought
to be
it was
something
like an
like-
ankle.
Yeah,
So he still hasn't made an appearance back onto the ground.
good pick up there. Going through the centre
They're
of the ground.
starting to use
now.
the ball really well, Casey.
They are. They go through the centre of the ground. It's an up and under kick
at
from
this.
Jordan Andrews. Where's Holt? Oh, it was a good spoil
Good
from
spoil.
Cashin. Holt on the second cherry. He almost wanted to claim that mark, I reckon, if he took it. Lim with the hands out to Cashin. The
Good
two
work.
Cooters link up. Looking to go over the top. The spoil was there from Tonner for Cardinia. And Tonner has had a fair bit of the footy so far.
I'm already
He's
liking
been
Cormac
effective.
Cashin's work on the big boy already.
Yep. Keep him close check.
Yep.
Needs to have that constant body contact too, just to make sure that he doesn't let Holt get a yard of space, because you know what he can do when he does. Ball hits ground level. Matthew Wade, he's done well there, but he's unfortunately dropped it for Casey Cardinia. He's been pretty effective so far, Wade. Had a fair bit of the footy. Umpire just lurking, and he should call a ball up, and he does. Waiting to come on there at the bottom of our screen is Jake Gaines. We may not see that. No, in fact, we won't see it on the TV, but Jake Gaines waiting in the interchange bench, looking to come on for Cardinia. And also Ryan Dalhouse has been pretty effective for Bellarine. They can move it through now. About 80 from goal. The kick from Carricker. Looking for Caldwell, who's come back on. The man who was winded earlier. Plucked a great grab, and he's very tall and very skinny.
Gangly, you said.
Gangly.
No, you don't. Once you go Gangly, you can't go back.
The gangly man
Yeah.
from 40 metres. And dead in front as well. So you'd like to
Need
back
this.
it from here. Yeah. Just to steady things. Caldwell really puts his boot through it, but he's pushed it to that near side. He's skewed it for one behind. 6'4", 40 Bellarine. Playing Casey 6-38.
Oh, almost there, Gage. Almost intercepted it, but good. Giving away the free kick
Casey will take it now.
to
Defensive
Kim Jones.
Man,
He started well in the ruck, but has moved to a bit of a different role this quarter. Casey push it backwards and move it out of their defensive 50. They like to switch the play. They've done it a fair bit more this quarter than they did in the first. Benstead with the big
He's
spoil.
been good, Benstead.
He has. Only a young man too. Was only in Colts a couple of years ago, but was playing seniors at a Colts age. Loves to go to the spoil and often backs himself
I think he's about 20,
in a
is
marked
he?
position. 20 years old, yeah.
Is he? Oh, all right.
That's good knowledge from you, Milky. Yeah. Tapped out the back by Gage. Just let that one fall off his palm into the path of Carricker. Lavar's got the hands to Baden Dodd, his teammate. But Casey overran with a tackle. Down there at ground level was Gaines. The man who came on just a moment ago. Getting his footy again. A little quick kick out. Went all 15 metres. Benstead shoved off the footy. Met immediately by a tackler was Jordan Andrews.
Unlucky
The
not
ball
getting
hits
kicked
the
there,
ground once
Bellarine
more.
bloke.
Umpire is going to ping him.
Pinged him.
I don't
You
know.
are kidding me.
What has he pinged him
Lim
for?
should have
It's
got
Tom
a
Lim
free
again.
kick. Should have got a free kick, not pinged.
Gee, Tom Lim would feel pretty hard done by for a couple of nasty calls he's received so far. The ball rebounded luckily to Dyson Bellarine. Lim put his body on the line. Didn't receive a free kick for possibly a high tackle. On the left foot, Russell Lehman went to the pocket and he's in fact out in the full. Out on the full. I thought the ball deflected off over the line.
Did look like it, didn't it?
Maybe the umpire is erred in his ways. Surely we'll have a throw in.
No, he must have been over the line when he dropped it.
O'Donoghue will take the kick. He's got men across goal.
Oh.
And he's taken the risky option once more. In fact, it was probably down to the tardiness of his teammate in Kerr, who nearly dropped the mark. Well, in fact, he did. Lim now at defensive 50 to Lavaz. Goes
Kid
long
numbers
towards
at the
Hovey.
footy.
Used the body well, but didn't actually get anywhere near the footy. Isaac Baker taken to ground level and dragged it back in. If the umpire wasn't blindsided, he'd probably pay this as a free kick.
Did definitely drag that back in, you're right.
Hovey used the body well there, but he just hasn't been able to clunk any marks so far this quarter. Not to any effect anyway, but probably Bellarine as a whole
Look at this one.
have been a little bit lower. Yeah, well done there from Hovey. We put the commentator's curse on him.
Not much on.
Hovey decides to go long towards
Gangly
Caldwell, who was taken down and nearly grabbed the mark as he was impeded by his opponent in Brown. Then got the hands out again once more. Balding. King, rather. They do look similar.
Yeah,
They both
they do.
got beards and
Yeah.
brown hair.
Yep.
And both quality players as well. We'll see that one go over the line for a throw-in.
Unusual to see him up forward. He played all his footy down back at St Joe's. He's the Inspector Gadget type, played it centre down the half-back flank.
Reckon he's just as effective up forward, though, if used there properly?
Yeah. Freak. I thought I heard a whistle.
I thought I'd whistle too. Instead, play on is cold, and it looks like we have another ball up.
There's a netball going on behind us, is there?
That's
going on.
that's what always happens, isn't
Something's
it?
going on.
Well, for all Casey's dominance in this quarter, really, they still haven't got the lead. They're still 2 points behind. Bellarine have done well to hold fort in this last 10 minutes or so.
And I
They need
think,
to score.
yeah, I think that lead is the most important thing too. As long as they still stay in front, it's still a matter of mind games. As Lavaz, he's limping a little bit. He's grabbing the
Quad.
the groin sort of quad area.
He's hurt too.
Yeah, it's not good.
He's had groin troubles, Bandy Lavaz. He's in big trouble.
He is. Looks like Kathy Tisdale down there, the Bellarine trainer.
He's in big strife.
Yep.
Worked
That's a
out
massive
there
blow.
from Casey Cardinia, from Morrison to Tonner, who's had a fair bit of it, I mentioned earlier, this quarter. His little kick was a half volley for his teammate and King to pick up. Went back to Tonner. And now working around was Osborne. Carved out a path and then kicked in towards his teammate and Collins. The ball went to ground level. Casey Cardinia got a little bit of a run on going now. Ball travelling towards full forward. Over the top of O'Donoghue. Bell Warren tapped it back towards the boundary line. And the umpire would like to throw it in. Could almost pay deliberate there. I mean, it was sort of a guided tap towards.
Mate, I was trying to look for the nearest umpire. I thought it was
Yeah.
this guy here that's 60 metres out. There's actually one down on the boundary line. See him over there under the Simmons sign. It's just ridiculous.
It is. And we'll go on about this all day until
Yep,
they
absolutely.
change their
The
tops
big
at
fella's
half-time.
grabbed it out of the ruck.
That's a superb goal.
It's his first touch.
Yeah, I haven't seen him do much so far. That's
33, is it?
might be. No, I think it's number 32.
Yeah.
In fact, is it 34? Kim Jones.
Karem
It's
Baskaya. That's the
yes.
other 100 goal kicker.
Sky, yeah.
Yeah, Baskaya. Karem.
Haven't seen too much of him today.
That's it. So between the 200 goal kickers, they've kicked 6 of the 7 goals.
And there's Casey hitting the lead, which we mentioned was so important there. Now in front, 7-2-44.
This has been the game of 2 quarters.
Yeah.
All Bellarine pretty much in the first, but gee, they've gone missing this second quarter.
Haven't they just? As I said, Casey 7-2-44, Bellarine 6-4-40. But there's probably still time for one more. 23 and a half gone. Second term, ball floats over the back. Isaac Baker just had to
Gotta
watch
get
it
his
as it went
hands
to
on it,
ground
hasn't he?
level. He does. Hasn't seen too much of it. The umpire, we brave
him.
to pay that.
Dinged him.
He would be very brave. I thought he was basically tackled as soon as he got the footy. But Isaac Baker will relish the opportunity to have a shot from 35 metres out, considering he hasn't seen a lot of it this quarter. Yet he's still held down that full forward position for the last
Kick
30
seven,
minutes or so.
7 I think, in the reserves, the GFL reserves here on grand final day last year.
And it's been handy for Torquay too. We've seen a lot of GFL players come to the BFL this year.
Mozzed him.
That would have been big for Bellarine. They're 2 down at the moment because Holland still hasn't come back on, and now Lavars as well. So any score they
good
can
kick.
get the remaining of this quarter will help them, because it looks like they might be without 2 of their better players for the rest of the game.
Certainly, as Casey Cardinia work it through Matthew Wade.
Oh, good mark.
O'Donoghue out in front. The umpire's called play on.
Piss off. Oops.
And Milky's parochialism just
That was.
coming out there.
Hey, you reward a bloke that does stuff like
do.
that.
You do.
Jeepers.
Ball tossed back up once more.
Just. It's bad enough they look like idiots. Then they start behaving like idiots.
I'm not sure how many Casey players will be watching. People will be watching through the Football Geelong website anyway, so I think you're probably safe in your support of the Bellarine. Balding
Good kick.
near the logo. Kicks inside to Kane Smith, who still manages to find a lot of the footy even when he's down.
Gone to, what do you call him?
Gangly.
He's gone to Gangly.
Gangly Caldwell. He does have a name. He loads up from 65, just went towards Isaac
Poor
Baker.
kick.
Probably a low percentage kick, really.
Yeah.
Would have been a tough shot from there anyway. And to put it to his feet, probably not the best option. Probably should have gone towards the goal scorer instead. Just stick in the hot spot and see what can happen, because it's often the best idea. Carmichael's lurking there at the back of the pack, but Caldwell pushed it straight towards Finch, who got the hands to Holwell, who got the hands to Smith, who was tackled straight away.
Lucky.
Umpire just raises the arms and calls play on. We can't guess anything from that man. Kick around the corner from Carricker towards goal to hand it, a fly. A fly, in fact, it might be from Hovey.
It was Hovey. Yep.
In the goal square, who loves to get up on people's shoulders. Amazingly, the ball's travelled out of bounds for a throw-in where it looked like it was going for the goals.
Well, he did well. It was a 2-on-1, so to bring it to ground and get it for a
Keep
throw-in,
that chance
it's,
alive.
yeah,
You're right.
Bellarine.
It
You're right,
does. Caldwell's tap went straight to the effective Scanlon for Cardinia, who just dribbled it
Now
towards the boundary line.
Come on, umpire, show some guts.
No.
Oh, if that was you, Milky,
Yeah.
kicking that one, I wouldn't have paid it.
Oh, would have.
You got to think, if there's a 1% chance, if there's a 1% thought in his mind that he wanted to put it there, that's technically enough to pay it deliberate, really.
Yeah, that was deliberate. No doubt about it. That was 100% deliberate. Not 1%, 100%. He knew what he was doing. He
No
kicked it
doubt.
straight to the boundary line.
No doubt there from Milky Marty. Ball to be tossed up. Getting up a little bit gingerly there looks to be Reece Holwell. In fact, it's Carricker for Torquay,
He's all right.
who looked to the bench but saw no one waiting, so decides to play on. Snatched out of there by Michael Collins. Probably one of the leading ball getters for Cardinia. A quick kick around the corner, goes inside 450, and there's Biscaya, the man who kicked the goal a moment ago. And he's setting up his routine. He'll kick from about 55 metres out, and it'll probably go close to being the last shot for goal for the term, with 27.5 minutes gone. Casey leading by 3 points.
It'll take his
Biscaya's
best.
backing himself. It will. But not too much of a breeze out there, I don't believe. Biscaya to kick, from about 55 metres out. He's got a man on,
Nah.
creating the lead, but
He's kicked 100 goals, mate. He's not passing it.
he's already got his mind made up, I'm sure.
Coming back.
A high, up and under sort of kick. Won't make the distance. Ball spoiled and seen over the line for a minor score. Biscaya with just the one for today.
You can see those two boys wouldn't have passed the ball off at all, the two forwards.
Not if they're kicking 100 goals a year.
Yep.
But hey, if you're kicking 100 goals, there's no need to pass it off, so it sort of works in a bit of a cycle. Bellarine move it out of their defensive 50. Just punched over the back towards the boundary line. Casey Cardinia would probably be happy to see it go there. Instead, they go inside to big Kim Jones. A little bit of a 1-2. Working it nicely. Casey Cardinia are linking up really well.
Aren't they ever?
Using that handball and kick to perfection. Holt waiting underneath it. 2-on-1 contest. Spoiled down by Tom Lim. And then it was Smith who got it out towards Caldwell.
Gangly.
Actually did quite well there at ground
Did
level,
well.
Caldwell. Waited for his teammate to approach him, and it was Reece Holwell. who got the hands out towards Carricker, but it wasn't the greatest of handballs. Carricker made it look okay. Bypassed Finch and went it alone. A high sort of kicked. Oh, Hovey was pushed out of the challenge. Umpire lets it go. He does milk it some time to time, but I think that was a fair call.
Out.
Running now is Painter for Cardinia. Went over the head of Baden Dodd for Bellarine, and at ground level, Lim was met solidly. Hasn't seen too much of it today, Tommy Lim, and when he has, he's been unfairly pinged.
I've noticed what he's doing as well, Lim. He's going back to give his Cormac cash in the hand. He's playing the 2-on-1 every time it goes in.
Every time it goes to Holt, probably too.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ball snaps out now. And that's a great kick around the corner. Right on the siren from Jordan Andrews to make it Casey 8-3-51, Bellarine 6-5-41 at half time. 29 and a half minutes that second quarter went for, so it's Casey with a 10-point lead at half time. Keep live on Ustream. We'll be rolling again.